Good evening and welcome to Resourec PNG. In tonight's edition, we feature the Ramu nickel mine in Madang, operated by the China Metallurgical Group Corporation, MCC, PNG's first nickel and cobalt project. This is the first in a series of documentaries that have been sponsored by the PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum to highlight the scope of the resource industry activities in the country. In this first segment, we take a look at how Ramu NiCo Project came into effect. When we talk about mining in PNG, the transition metals that come to mind are usually gold, copper and silver. They dominate PNG's mining scene, with the first discovery of gold in 1852 along Red Scar Bay on the Papua Peninsula, copper in 1876 in the Oktedi River, and silver in 1926 from Edie Creek in the Wau district. Nickel and cobalt are relatively new, having first been discovered in the 1960s. After several decades of exploration and environmental and feasibility studies, nickel and cobalt have become PNG's new addition into the mining industry, the Ramu NiCo mine.
We are the first nickel project. That means we diversify the mining industry to the third the mine metal. One now in PNG, one is copper, one is gold, and I think this now we got nickel and cobalt.
The world-class Ramu project, located in the Madang province, is treating laterite ores to produce nickel and cobalt as a high-grade intermediate product. The Ramu NiCo Project is a joint venture between Highlands Pacific, the PNG government and landowners, and a group of Chinese partners led by the Hong Kong and Shanghai listed China Metallurgical Group Corporation, also known as MCC. It is the first mining project in PNG to be delivered by an Asian company. First discovered in 1962, the Kurumbukari ore deposit was first explored by several companies. In 1992, Highlands Pacific Limited assumed management of the current joint venture. After detailed exploration followed by a feasibility study and approval of the project by the PNG government, the Ramu Nickel joint venture was established. Despite the use of international financial consultants, Highlands Pacific found it difficult to attract overseas investors to develop the project. The feasibility study, however, did not leave much room for profit, leaving little room for investors to come on board.
This project is exploited by Western company since 1962. It already lasts for 40 years. So, because the PNG government and also provincial government, they told us, invite us to come to develop the project and gave us support, like the policy support, like the tax holiday, something like that, to invite us together with the other, developer like bank to develop this project. After 1 year due diligence, we make a decision to come to develop this project, and the bank, they encouraged by the national government, PNG government, and the provincial government agree to support us to develop the project.
In a bid to incentivize the project, the PNG government offered a 10-year tax holiday, and after several talks, the China Metallurgical Group Corporation, MCC, came on board, acquiring majority interest in the project in 2005. Ramu NiCo Management, MCC Limited, became manager and operator for the Ramu Nickel joint venture. In his capacity as mining minister at the time, Sam Akoitai approved the Ramu NiCo project despite much criticism.
I've actually listened to a lot of criticisms about the 10-year tax holiday. During the time when the government invited MCC, as I stated before, there was no one interested in the project. In fact, there was a company that was interested to taking on the project. But this company actually packed up and left for New Caledonia because the New Caledonian government gave them 15 years tax holiday. That's why they left the project. But the government support that it wanted to give this project was to give comfort to the finances of the project, to providing financing for the project. That was the whole reason behind providing a 10-year tax holiday. Even if the government did not give the 10-year tax holiday, we have already examples of mining companies that took more than 10 years to pay tax, and that is the corporate tax. A classic example is Lihir and Octeri. They went for more than 10 years before they started paying tax. So, to me, this 10-year tax holiday argument is just a non-issue.
The project construction has been substantially finalized after a 2-year hiatus due to litigation over the deep-sea tailings placement, DSTP. The project is now being progressively commissioned. Valued at $1.37 billion, this world-class project is the largest Chinese investment in the South Pacific.
瑞木项目呢是中国在南太平洋地区最大的投资项目，也是呢我们巴新的第一个红土镍矿的项目啊，也是巴新我们这个国家第一个这个红土镍的项目。这个项目呢经过9年的。
The Ramu project is made up of 3 parts. The Kurumbukari mine site, often abbreviated to KBK for short, the Bazamuk processing plant, and the 135-kilometer slurry pipeline.
瑞木项目呢，从设备上来讲，也有和在同类矿山啊，在国际上，我们也有最长的管道和最大的设备。比如说，我们这个135公里的矿浆管道。 目前是世界第一。然后你们看的这个冶炼厂的这个3条高压釜3条高压釜，我们高压釜的容量目前也是世界最大的高压釜之一，在世界排名第2。就看的这个高压釜这设备也是先进的，也是最大的
The Kurumbukari mine site is situated on the Kurumbukari Plateau on the southern side of the Ramu River Valley, 75 kilometers to the southwest of Madang. The site's main facilities include the laterite mine, deagglomeration plant, chromite separation plant, thickening and storage, the 135-kilometer pipeline. More of this documentary after the break. In this episode, we are featuring a documentary on the Ramu NiCo mine in Madang. Unlike typical mining operations that mine rocks, it is the laterite soil that is mined to extract nickel and cobalt deposits. We now have a look at the Resource Project developer, MCC's processing operations. Unlike typical mining operations that involve hard rock mining, in this operation, it is the laterite soil that is mined.
As you know, mining is very simple, and it's not like other mining. We just mine the soil. It's not the rocks.
The nickel and cobalt ore are mined from a low-stripping open-pit mine, resulting in less waste removal and lower operating costs. Face shovels and backhoe excavators dig into a 12-meter thick ore body. The extracted deposits are loaded into trucks and delivered to the washing plant. That are later transported by a short pipeline to the beneficiation plant. The beneficiation plant removes chromite and creates a correctly sized and consistent slurry feed that is sent to high-efficiency thickener tanks where a solid liquid separation process takes place. From the thickener, the slurry is then stored in slurry storage tanks for overland pipeline transport to the Bazamok processing plant. Under the original mining plan, the chromite was intended to be treated as a waste product. However, as a highly abrasive product, the chromite would have severely damaged the pipeline. A decision was made by MCC to extract this product for export. Exports for chromite have yet to begin. Trial mining began in 2009, and mining operations commenced at Kurumbukari in late 2011.
2012, we've gone into commissioning stage, and now we're going into a trial production started last year.
In the calendar year of 2012, 1.54 million wet tons of ore was delivered to the beneficiation plant. In the December quarter, 735,000 wet tons were mined and delivered to the beneficiation plant as capacity is gradually ramping up. A 135-kilometer slurry pipeline connects the Kurumbukari mine beneficiation plant to the Bazamok processing plant. Most of the pipeline is buried underground. The first of its kind in PNG, the Bazamok processing plant has 3 high-pressure acid leach HPL autoclaves. The plant is designed to treat 3.3 million tons per annum of dry feed with metal contents of 1.04% nickel and 0.11% cobalt. In December 2011, PNG's Chief Inspector of Mines gave load commissioning approval to allow the mine to commence production. In early 2012, the first of 3 autoclaves was operated. The autoclaves enhance metal recovery.
The first autoclave was commissioned in March 2012, with the first MHP produced 2 weeks after that. 19th of April last year, the second autoclave was commissioned, and just over a month ago, the final autoclave was commissioned.
Ramu NiCo's newly appointed chairman, Mr. Zhao Shimin, arrived in Madang early this year to take up his position at the helm of the company. A metallurgist by training, Chairman Zhao is a 40-year veteran in the mining industry. As the first nickel mine in PNG, new technology is needed to produce nickel and cobalt.
任务项目呢，从设备上来讲，也有和在同类矿山啊，在国际上，我们也有最长的管道和最大的设备。比如说，我们这个135公里的矿浆管道，啊，目前是世界第一。然后你们看的这个冶炼厂的这个3条高压釜哈，3条高压釜，我们高压釜的容量。
This requires technical expertise that is executed mostly by expert employees.
We have some program that we recruitment the employment first go to the landowner, second is to the Madang province, the third is PNG, and if not available within PNG, then we get expatriates. This is our policy, internal policy for employment.
Whilst the mine is providing employment opportunities for approximately 1,000 national workers, further training is needed to fully develop local capacity, and MCC is committed to delivering that.
The development of this project also provide a lot of employment for for Madang, for PNG. During the construction period, at the peak time, we employ 3,000 national workers for this project, and this is for construction period. For production period, we can the direct employment will be 1,000. And also we have a training program for for locals. We will perform our training program during the production phase. And I think this project can deliver a lot of benefits for the national staff and the employment for local and all PNG, I think.
The project currently has a 1-to-1 ratio of expat to national employees. At this stage, MCC aims to gradually decrease the number of expat workers by 5% every year.
This is a new first technology here in PNG, not like gold, not like copper. Is nickel. So until now, the percentage is about half expatriates, half local, and this will be, for the expatriates, will reduce gradually, year by year.
The chairman and director and executive vice president of MCC are full-time residents of Madang. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, tonight's episode on the Ramu NiCo mine is the first in a series of documentaries that have been sponsored by the PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum to highlight the scope of the resource industry activities in the country. In this next segment, we take a look at the mine's production, export and sales. The year 2005 saw the maiden export shipment of 576 tons of dry mixed nickel cobalt hydroxide intermediate product containing 217 tons of nickel and 19 tons of cobalt. During 2013, production ramp-up will see all three autoclaves operate in union as the plant moves towards its nameplate capacity of 31,150 tons of nickel and 3,200 tons of cobalt per annum. At present, only 2 of 3 autoclaves are in operation simultaneously.
The refinery is designed to produce just over 31,000 tonnes per annum of nickel and 3,200 tonnes of cobalt.
Since July 2013, the mine has made 8 export shipments, totaling to over 70,000 tonnes of mixed hydroxide product.
To date, since operation, we've produced over 70,000 tonnes of mixed hydroxide.
Due to the technical challenge it faces, the laterite nickel project production isn't expected to reach 100% until 2015. MCC aims to achieve 50% of plant capacity this year and 80% in 2014. The project will remain making a loss until that target is achieved.
We have the confidence this project will deliver the profit, the interest to the government, to landowner, to the community.
MCC has been very proactive even during the construction phase in providing assistance to landowners.
Ramu NiCo Project, it's our honor to donate this tin set dedicated anew to our download community. That's the wishes. Please make a full use this for the best.
When MCC and its partners took on this project, they've actually started embarked on a number of issues. For example, the assistance to the community and to the province. They started providing that well before production.
MCC and other stakeholders enjoy strong support from the landowners as well as from all levels of the PNG government.
Time is start long school long 64. Me no looking kind development also. Me start lo bus. Na me no look 1 something. Where enough lo government help him. I'm no God. Me look come enough lo 2002. He got some legal change and he come up. I'm the site LBC. He come clearance that's all. And I come up in this road. He coming up long 2006. MCC come. And me come now behind him, now me give me two light, now me give me bridge, now road, now me lose him this all get a jetty plus something, ground malum. Me lose him all get a, now me hope long, call, la dua blow me and stop, me say go to town, he come back, me pili mamas. And now this arrive, I me Chinese me looking now. Before me stop, me not looking one to arrive, where I me Chinese, enough me play again, look, when I'm kind development whereby me play kissing, I'm no God.
At various times in the past 50 years since Ramu's discovery, a range of anthropological, genealogy and landowner studies were undertaken to ensure appropriate landowner representation. Communication is an integral part of community relations. With a blend of Chinese and Papua New Guinean cultures, day-to-day communication between Chinese employees and locals is crucial. Despite the language barrier, many have taken the initiative to learn to speak Pidgin.
And we know Pidgin language has strong or close relationship with English. I'm dealing with landowners, doing this community affair work. Through this communication, I got to know the Pidgin pronunciation, and I learned the dictionary, Pidgin English dictionary. So I can hear more than I can talk. Community affair job, one very challenging job. Me, Jackie, lead staffs below me, struggled many years, long time, long this place.
The special mining license granted to develop the project also facilitates the establishment of the 4 traditional landowner associations to represent the 4 project impact areas: Kurumbukari Landowners Association, Inland Pipeline Landowners Association, Coastal Pipeline Landowners Association, and Bazamuk Landowners Association. All these associations are represented under one umbrella company, Ribus Limited, which employs 300 locals through its various divisions.
The company is called Ribus Limited. Ribus is an acronym for the 4 area umbrella company, 4 areas that Ramu NiCo operates in. So those 4 areas are the mine site, which is Kurumbukari, the inland pipeline site, which is Maigari, coastal pipeline, which is Wasmatau, and the refinery site, which is Bazamuk, and we have a company there called Bazamuk Enterprises. So each of those 4 areas has their own area umbrella company, and each of those umbrella companies has representatives on the board of Ribus. And those 4 umbrella companies, with their representatives, form the board of Ribus, which that's how our company is set up.
MCC has helped local landowners set up companies and is supporting them with business opportunities generated by the project.
Ribus represents the interest of all the landowners throughout the mine project, and we have been given the right to provide catering services for the entire mine project, security services also for the entire mine project. We also have a small engineering company called Ribus Engineering, and we have a property company called Ribus Properties.
Catering is a major service provision for Ribus Limited. The company operates a joint venture with NCS Holdings. Mess facilities are located at both the Kurumbukari mine site and the Bazamuk processing plant.
Our major operation is the catering service provision. We have a joint venture with a company called NCS Holdings. That joint venture was commenced nearly 6 years ago. For us, that joint venture has been a very successful enterprise. NCS provided all the finance necessary to set the joint venture up, and they provide management. And they funded our 50% of the shareholding of the joint venture we have received 50% of the operating profits from that joint venture since then. So that joint venture has set Ribus on the road to being a successful umbrella company, landowner company.
Staff are equipped with skills to cater for both local and Chinese cuisine.
Okay, so at the moment we've got roughly around 93 national and local employees, predominantly local, okay? The main aim of our company is to train the local people and bring them up to a good standard, cooking, cleaning, and have the knowledge that a lot of other surrounding areas have, but we give to the people here. We also employ roughly 7 Chinese chefs from China. Generally, we'll keep it at a minimum, only because we sought the local community. Yeah.
In line with the project MOA, the Ramu NiCo Project has established and funded Landowner-Owned Management Services Company, or MSC. The MSC liaises with the Small Business Development Office under the Community Affairs Department of MCC. This was to set up local contracts and help local businesses position themselves. During the last 6 years of Ribus's operation, the company made significant investments to secure its financial footing, particularly with investments in properties as well as its core businesses.
In that 6-year period, we've made some investments. We, mainly from the income from the NCS Ribus joint venture, we own property in Madang of around about 4 million kina. It has been a deliberate policy of the board of the company to invest as much as we can into properties to secure the future of the company. We have to remember that this company will be in existence for the next 30, maybe 40 years, depending on the lifetime of the mine.
Ribus provides other services such as security for the Ramu NiCo Project.
We have been given the right to provide security services also for the entire mine project.
And it has grown over the years. Up until now, we've branched out. And also we have clients in Middletown. Example, we have clients with National Airport Corporation, DDCell, Hardware House. Very shortly, it will be the National Development Bank. And of course, our major client is MCC itself.
Ribus Security also provides security services in Honiara, Solomon Islands.
We also have operations out in Honiara. Total number of guards out there is 27. We bought 51% into that company, so it's JV. The company is looking at expanding. We got ICOMs, PNG ICOM machine out there, and now we are looking at trying to expand the business in Honiara with 52 PNG companies based in Honiara.
Eventually, the aim of local business development support is to help establish self-sustaining businesses in the project area and Madang province that can operate well after the mining life of the Ramu NiCo Project. Under a long-term sustainability plan, the Ramu NiCo Project is committed to assisting with spin-off businesses for impacted communities within the project's vicinity. Pursuing sustainable development for the project-impacted landowners is a commitment of Ramu NiCo.
There are a lot of benefits, both direct and indirect benefits. The direct benefits would be the employment of the local people, not only with their landowner companies, but also with the company as well. And these are the benefits that they have as per the main project agreement that we have, the MOA that we have with the stakeholders, that the first preference goes to the local people. So the company gives the first preference to the local people in terms of employment.
More when we come back. In this next segment, we see how MCC has assisted local landowners in agriculture. With catering being a major component of Ribus Limited, all landowner communities are also encouraged to participate in agricultural initiatives.
Company has opened up markets for the local people to sell their produce to the company, both fishing, vegetables, and any other any other produce that they have to sell it to the company both in Basamuk and up in KVK.
The Agriculture Assistance Program has progressed well. There have been a number of model farms that have been set up in the Basamuk plant site area with the help of Chinese agricultural experts as training sites to teach agricultural skills to local landowners.
Our technician, employed technician, our staff was sent to Basamuk, followed up 2 weeks ago's job. We distributed more than 5,000 poly bags to the farmers for the 5 model farms. Guide the locals to put the seeds inside and hybrid cocoa and vegetables.
The Community Affairs Department's Agriculture section assists farmers in the inland and coastal pipeline areas with planting cocoa for the local area.
We have built more than 5 model farms of cocoa nursery plant.
Last month, I saw the school of cacao.
It also provides training in rice cultivation and vegetable farming.
We also have agriculture program that we thought would be a sustainable program that we can really emphasize in along the coastal pipeline because they have limited businesses along that area.
And the coastal pipeline, we have rice farms. We just want people to get more cash income and want people, especially women and the youth who has no work, who has no job, to make one better living.
The Basamuk catering uses local vegetable produce to feed the 700 workers at the mine, while some food supplies are shipped from Madang via the NCS Ribus Challenger.
Right, NCS Ribus Challenger is the vessel that we use. It's owned by NCS Holdings, and we use it to transfer food stuff, vegetables plus all our dry goods and freezers from Madang up to Basamuk refinery mess. Our messes, we've got 3 messes up at Basamuk that we do caters for them.
90% of it is sourced locally. The only vegetables that we receive that's not locally are the ones we can't get that grow in a different climate. We have 30 to 40 different local vegetable suppliers. We use the ones that can bring the bulk amount of vegetables. But once again, it's brought a lot of jobs to Basamuk and the Rye Coast area, and the gardens they're producing more vegetables than what they did 5 years ago.
The overall purpose of the agricultural programs is to maintain food security in the project impacted and affected areas, wealth creation and increase economic activity at the village level, empowerment of people through job creation, and to enable project-impacted communities to improve their livelihood. The Ramu project operates in an area long neglected in terms of provision of basic services. Since the construction began, MCC has done much to boost access to schools and medical services. During 2009 and 2010, the project invested $350,000 to improve education and health services and to increase agriculture production in the project area.
Yeah, we built Ganglong Hope Elementary School. Ganglong Hope Elementary School. Supplied Ganglong Hope Elementary School not only classrooms, double classrooms, but also water supply. But unfortunately, the teachers still need training and a certificate.
5 primary schools and 2 clinic centres were built by Ramu NiCo for the project landowners and nearby communities. Had it not been for the schools, many children may have missed the chance for an education due to the remoteness of their villages and the considerable distance to other nearby schools, which are in Madang town.
Ramu NiCo School to them. Em new plan. We finishing grade 2 and I'm working grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. Now I'm traveling on Narbo school.
I'm Domilina Mr. Starlo Senior Station. Mika School of Korea Elementary. Na making itu. Na wami travel na go down na grade 3 na Senior Station.
In addition to their assistance, MCC ensures school fees are provided annually for landowners' children.
The first thing is we with some assistance in help the landowner children to go to school, help them to pay the school fee.
Drinkable water and solar power supplies are provided for 3 villages at Basamuk, with power connected to individual homes. Basamuk employees make daily checks to ensure water supply is uninterrupted. We'll look at health assistance after the break. Thanks for staying with us. So far on our PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum sponsored feature on the Ramu NiCo mine, we've looked at the history of the mine and how it came into effect in 2005 under the then Somare-led government. As the first nickel and cobalt project in PNG, we've also looked at the mine's operation, production, exports and sales. We now take a look at the project operator, China Metallurgical Group Corporation, MCC, and how it assists in community engagements. Prior to MCC's involvement, the Ganglao Health Center near Basamuk had no doctor. Now there are 3, including one paid by Ramu NiCo. They attend to 300 patients a week, 500 at the most. Free medicine is donated every month to all clinics and aid posts built by MCC.
Ramu NiCo Project contribute and built Ganglao aid posts in 2007, and Ramu NiCo Project have been providing the medicines, and we employed a health worker working for people. Ganglao aid posts saved a lot of people's life. Because they're short of medicine supply, short of health workers, long Narabla place a little far away from this Basham area. But it's lucky that this project is supporting Ganglao aid post here, so more and more patients and sick persons come to Basam area, and this Ganglao aid post is helping and is treating more and more people.
Despite the lack of services in the past, the Ramu project is the only mining project that is situated in close proximity to an already pre-existing township, Medang Town. The presence of MCC and the Ramu NiCo project has brought many changes to the Medang province through developments in health, education, infrastructure and transport services. MCC has invested into the local economy through the extensive establishment of infrastructure. During the construction phase of the project, the company completed several major infrastructure programs: the road from the Kurumbukari mine site to Medang Leh Highway and the heavy-duty Ramu NiCo bridge situated along it. Today it takes 2.5 hours to reach the site, but prior to the bridge and road, villagers of the Osino Bundi district traveled 2.5 days by vehicle or several days by foot.
When I came here in 2004, in KPK area, it's just a bush, nothing. For my first 2 trips to KPK by helicopter, no road, if you go there by car. The first time, my experience, to KPK by vehicle, by car, it took me 12 hours. From 7 o'clock morning, in the 7 o'clock afternoon, I arrive at KPK. I make the road by ourselves. We take knife, we take a spade, no road, we make the road and go through. So no road at that time, no bridge. Now, it just takes us 2.5 hours from here to KTK.
Although the road was intended for project usage, it also provides much needed stimulus to the local economy. These infrastructural developments make travel much easier for local residents.
Road now is stop, big plus senis, bridge is stop, big plus senis, and benefit to me plus one time company itu. So tu plus something one time I'm alright straight, lo bel belum ibla.
And also local people, they can come to Madang, go back within 1 day. At that time, they need 2 days, more than 2 or 3 days. They can, for one return trip. So that's why we also construct the road for, the community. I think this is the first, the biggest interest for the community.
Other infrastructural developments have been the road linking the limestone quarry with the Basamuk processing plant, as well as the permanent corporate office in Madang, otherwise known by locals as the Glass House, that boasts modern Chinese architecture and is a new landmark in town. The Basamuk Seaport is also another landmark. The port's loading facilities are one of the most reputable in PNG. At present, the only reliable means of access to Basamuk is only by sea transport. MCC provides a daily ferry that transports employees as well as the general public to and from Madang and Basamuk. Ramu NiCo is committed to monitoring and reducing the environmental impacts from its operations by utilizing the best methods and resources. During the construction phase, MCC established a system to better manage environmental impacts specifically relating to dust, water, noise and waste management.
Sedimentation and erosion will be one of our major concerns, but we have control plans in place to minimize impacts of sediments being overflown into creeks and river systems.
The impacted communities are kept constantly informed.
Yes, we have, for 2013, we have a very big environmental awareness program that covers all impact areas. So we go out to communities with the support of our community affairs department. We reach out to communities to conduct the awareness. During the awareness, we give them the updates on our environmental monitoring, and also we educate them on the control plans that we have on site to show them that the impacts are being minimized. So this is how we report back to our impacted communities.
The de-agglomeration plant based at the mine site is designed to separate rocky materials from valuable minerals. Large rocks are removed during the de-agglomeration process and are recycled. The large rocks recycled are used to build roads, whilst the small rocks are used for backfilling and mine rehabilitation. Prior to mining, Ramu NiCo removes and stocks the topsoil covering the nickel laterite. After an area is mined, the topsoil is replaced and the area revegetated.
We'll have more when we return. Environmental management is a main concern for any natural resource extraction venture. In this segment, we take a look at how the Ramu NiCo mine deals with deep sea tailings.
The deep sea tailing system, DSTP, has been the most controversial aspect of the mine, causing a 2-year hiatus in production due to legal proceedings. The DSTP involves the removal of material leftover or waste after valuable minerals have been separated from mineral ore, which are deposited into the Basamuk Bay. Tailings disposal are a major environmental challenge for all mining companies.
For example, waste management, we don't want to see where we're just putting waste in a big corner and forgetting about it and letting the 40 years time generation to look for stuff that shouldn't have been here. So that is one of it. So waste segregation. Scrap metal, we're engaging with local people to remove any scrap metals that we may produce over the coming years and what we've produced in the construction. So we're making sure that we're taking care of the environment, and we have registrations in place to record everything that we've got and where it goes, how it goes, and we're putting people through training to make sure we manage that. As far as emissions concerned, we're looking at better quality ways of stopping emission, reducing the emission that we produce. Any plant, doesn't matter where you are in the world, produces greenhouse gases, and our goal is to make sure we minimise that.
International experts selected the disposal of tailings into the 1,500 metre deep sea canyons as the most appropriate and safe method of disposal. This is because PNG's mountainous landscape, high volcanic and earthquake activity, high rainfall and continual erosion may pose risks. Ramu NiCo's deep-sea tailings placement uses a similar system to the one operated at the Lihir gold mine.
Even though some of the NGOs perhaps didn't like me very much, I had to balance these things up, and I think that any mining in any developing country is a matter of a balance between environment and development. And if you can't have economic development, or you can't have an economy, you really can't have a development. So it got back to the stage where I had to be convinced, and I was convinced, that the correct monitoring was put into place with the deep sea tailings. And I think it could easily be explained at the time when the discharge from the deep sea tailings was only a minute fraction of what was coming down the rivers, and most of the stuff coming down the rivers was sediment that could have done an enormous amount of damage to the environment. It probably is doing a lot more damage to the environment than the tailings. I had to be convinced of this. It didn't happen immediately, it happened over a couple of years. But as long as that monitoring situation is in place, I have no real problems. Ironically, I've since become a fisherman, supposedly in my retirement, and we catch a lot of good fish out there. And I understand that those fish weren't available prior to the deep sea tailings. So whether that's had anything to do with it, maybe it's just my imagination. But I couldn't help but think last week when some people here brought in buckets and buckets of Red Emperor to sell to the hotel, and I asked them where they came from, and they're coming from the villages just outside Basmak. And they certainly look good fish to me.
This is the best way, DSCP is the best way to dispose the tailing.
The Ramu nickel and cobalt mine is expected to operate for more than 30 years. Since its construction began 5 years ago, many local communities have benefited from access to better educational and medical services and greatly improved agricultural productivity.
对这些挑战和困难，我们还是有决心、有信心的去积极应对。那么作为呢瑞木呢，这个建成投产以后，已经成了这个巴新矿业大家庭里边的一员。我们呢，在生产经营中，我们将严格的遵守我们巴新的环境保护、安全生产这个职业健康的法律法规要做到合法合规的经营要把瑞木项目做成中国在巴新的一个示范性的矿业项目。
This process will go on despite the mine's Chinese owners and operators continue to face major financial and technical challenges.
At the moment, Ramu NiCo is like a young tree. It needs time to grow up. It also needs support from the government and landowners and employees to put water and put some fertilizer to make it grow. Then it will blossom and bear fruit and make contributions to the society.
That ends Resource PNG. I hope you enjoyed our special feature on the Ramu NiCo mine, brought to you by the PNG Chambers of Mines and Petroleum. If you have any comments or queries, do email us on this address, resourcepng@mtv.com.pg. Or to find out more, check MTV online, that's www.mtv.com.pg, and go to our Resource PNG page. Or you can check our page on Facebook. Next week on our PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum series of documentaries, we feature the Pogera mine. Until then, thanks for your company. Bye for now.